Hey magicians, welcome back to my channel. Yeah, so I know I haven't posted in like literal years and I'm really sorry. I always make the excuse of school, but it's true. I've been legit really busy. I finished my bachelor's degree last year and now, if you haven't noticed from my background being very different, I'm actually getting a master's degree in the UK. So I'm in Scotland right now. And I have no room. Like, this is all the desk space that I have. My laptop is right here and the edge of the table is like right off frame. So I have very little room and all of my craft supplies are back in America. And I thought I could get through this degree without doing any crafts, but I was wrong. So, so I got some stuff on Amazon and I'm gonna upload a couple videos for you guys just because I wanted to put something out there and I finally have a little bit of time. So that's what this is. So this first video is just going to be an unboxing of this Pintos and Palominos gift set. And believe it or not, Amazon UK does not have a whole lot of Breyer stuff on there. And so this was like the only thing they had in the Stablemates scale that was at a reasonable price because everything here is just way more expensive. So I thought it would be fun to just unbox this for you guys and take a look at these because I haven't bought any new Stablemates in a really long time. And I'm curious to see if there's a difference from the ones they were putting out a few years ago, because I have noticed that the quality of Stablemates has been kind of all over the place, and the ones that they've been releasing recently haven't been as nice. So I want to take a good look at these and I'll let you know, I'll let you guys know what I think. So the back of the box just has some info about the models. It says, "It's hard to resist the appeal of a Palomino or Pinto coat. This flashy set includes a Tobiano chocolate Palomino," that's this guy, Isabella Palomino, Sooty Overo Pinto Palomino, and a Golden Palomino. So all of them are technically Palominos, but these two are also Pintos. And I do think it's really interesting that they chose to include a few different shades, because usually when Breyer releases Palomino Stablemates, they tend to be that yellow color. You know what I'm talking about? Like, they're all kind of the same, close to this, maybe a little brighter. So I'm glad they're finally branching out and showing some of the diversity that can occur in Palomino coats. That's really exciting. So let's crack this open and see how they look. So we have two mares and two stallions. Ladies first, so we'll start off with the mares. This is the Isabella Palomino, and she looks really nice. I'm actually super impressed. If you really take a good look at her coat, you'll see that there's some really subtle shading going on around the base of the tail, around the insides of the joints, on the chest, on the face. The detail on the eyes has been covered pretty precisely. I wish my camera would focus. There it goes. Yeah. It's not perfect, but it's close, and it looks a lot better than Stablemates that I was getting a couple years ago, so maybe Breyer's swinging back the other way. But yeah, she looks really nice. The coat does not have that metallic finish that you'll sometimes see on Palominos, but it does have a really nice, smooth, even matte finish. So she looks really good. She's on the G2 quarter horse mold, which is sometimes called the Para Dressage or Stock Horse. And just as a fun fact, this specific shade of Palomino is called Isabella, after Her Majesty Queen Isabella de Bourbon of France, who was the queen who funded the expedition to discover the New World. And it's recorded that she kept 100 Palomino horses in her stables just because it was her favorite breed of horse, and she was responsible for sort of breeding and preserving this specific color. And she forbade anyone who wasn't royalty from riding Palomino horses because they were golden colored, so they were reserved for the royalty. I thought that was really funny. Also interesting that the Palomino is called a color breed because you can find Palominos in almost every breed of horse, but quarter horses make up about half of all registered Palomino horses. So I think it's nice that they chose the quarter horse mold to represent this specific shade. I thought that was interesting. Next up, we have our Sooty Overo Pinto Palomino. She is on the G4 Trotting Warm Blood or Driving Horse mold, and she also looks really nice. One thing that I really appreciate is how crisp the edges of the markings are. So I think, I'm not sure how they do it, but I think Breyer uses like stencils to create Pinto markings on horses, and they stick it on and then they spray the paint and then they peel the stencil off. And so if it's not carefully done, sometimes you'll see that the edges of the markings get fuzzy because the sticker isn't stuck all the way down. you can see that all of these markings look really crisp. There's a little bit of fading happening here, but in general, the edges look great, and also the shapes aren't too blocky or simple. I really like when they put a lot of detail into the edges of the markings. So I appreciate this. It's a frame over a Pinto type, so you'll see the big markings on the sides here, big markings on the sides here, and then the extremities are darker. And also she has a beautiful blaze down her face, which looks lovely. She does have that thing going on with her eyes where they put the white in there, so she looks kind of scared. I don't like it when they do that. They only do it sometimes. But I covered it in a previous video, but the way to fix this is you can just put a little black paint on there and then put clear nail polish over it to make the eyes shiny again. So that's an easy fix. I'll be able to do that. Once again, I'm impressed with the shading. Her finish is a little bit shinier than the Isabella, and I also noticed that the finish is a little bit shinier on her legs than on her body. That may partially be because the blank resin of the horse is drinking up the sealant on the side here. That does happen. And also I think sometimes legs get oversprayed because they're a little thinner, but in general I think she looks really nice. Next up we have the golden Palomino, and this is that metallic finish that I was talking about earlier. There's definitely some reflective particles in the paint here, and I know it's a little bit cheesy, but I love this. I love this finish so much. I think it's gorgeous. I think the extra shininess in the paint helps to bring out the detail in the mold in a way that the matte finish doesn't. See how you can see the muscle definition on this stallion a lot better than you can on our Isabella, just because he's shinier, so he's picking up a little bit more light. He is on the G5 Darley, or Galloping Arabian Stallion, so he's an Egyptian style Arabian. You can really see that in the profile of the face, the way his nose kind of curves up at the tip. And I do appreciate that Breyer is using some new molds in these gift sets, because typically we see a lot of these too. We see a lot of G2 and G4 horses, so I'm really glad that they're using G5s. This one's G5 as well. The markings on this one aren't quite as crisp, so you'll see that we've got some fading going on into the stockings here. He's got 4 stockings, but they're faded at the tops instead of a crisp line, which I don't like as much. I much prefer a crisp line. I don't think the fading looks as realistic. The stripe looks really nice on his nose. That's very crispy. And then also the paint on the mane is a little bit messy. You can see that some of the ends have been painted over, and then some of them aren't painted all the way. So this, the paint job on this one isn't quite as nice, but I can almost forgive it because of that metallic finish that I love. And as another little tip, if you paint your own models and you like this finish, you can mix a little bit of metallic paint into the color that you use to cover the horse, so that you can get a little bit of that reflective finish. I've been doing that recently and I think it looks nice. So yeah, that's our golden Palomino. He's really gorgeous. And I may end up neatening up his markings by scraping off some of the paint, but we'll see if I get around to that. And finally, we have our Tobiano Chocolate Palomino. And I would call this more of a liver Palomino. You can see it's kind of a desaturated brown, but either way, he's very dark. This is the G5 Darwin or Lipizaner mold, so he's performing the Pisad maneuver, which you'll see them do at the Spanish riding school. I definitely don't think Lipizaners come in Pinto coloring. I know that most of them are gray or white. They're occasionally bay ones. They're pretty rare, but there's always a bay performing at the riding school. And I do believe you can find Lipizaners in chestnut as well, but it's kind of rare. Never seen a Pinto, but they have been using this mold for sort of impossible Lipizaner colors, and I'm not too mad about it because it's a gorgeous mold. I really love these action molds. We don't see them too often, but a horse that can stand in a couple of different positions, although this one isn't very realistic, and is extremely photogenic. I just love this one. So I'm glad they used it. The paint job looks great. The markings are decently crispy. There's a little bit more fading happening, especially on the fronts of the legs than on our warm blood, but still looks pretty good. He's got a little star here on his forehead. That's very cute. Once again, we see a little bit of messiness happening with the painting on the mane, the forelock. It's not perfect. I do think it's better than the Arabian, and obviously it's a little bit easier to have clear painting when the tail isn't even covered. So he looks good. I like him. He's gonna be photogenic for sure, and I do think they did a nice job doing shading on the parts of the body that are colored. So yes, especially the shading on the back of the hindquarters looks really nice. So I think this one's also good as well. Of course, the eyeballs are, he looks terrified. But in general, I think this paint job looks really good. So for this whole set, I am actually really impressed with the quality. I think it's a step forward from some of the Stablemates that I've been seeing in recent years. I think this set in terms of quality is really good. I'd recommend it if you're thinking about getting it. The only one that was kind of a letdown was our little Arabian Stallion here, just because of how messy he is, but that is fixable, and the the really gorgeous metallic finish kind of helps make up for that, so I'm not too mad, and I love the mold. So this set, I'm impressed, I'm happy with it, and I am really excited to add these little guys to my collection. And as usual, if you have any suggestions for names, let me hear them in the comments. I'm really happy to be back. I have a couple of other videos planned. They're customizing videos because I got some painting kits from Amazon too. So if you like watching customizing, I'm going to see if I can upload some of those in the coming weeks. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm happy to be back, and if you have any questions or comments, hit me up at my email or down below. Bye, magicians!